Imagine you're sitting at the table with your family for a Sunday lunch, that moment that should be about connection and joy. But while everyone talks and serves themselves, you hesitate. Your hand trembles as you try to hold the serving spoon for the rice, and you notice the discreet but perceptible looks of concern from your family members. Perhaps you've already given up serving yourself at family meals to avoid the embarrassment of spilling food on the table. Or worse yet, maybe you've started to completely avoid these gatherings, gradually isolating yourself from those you love most. Or perhaps you're someone who cares for a person with Parkinson's and feels a profound helplessness, watching your loved one losing not only movement, but also confidence and joy in living. Parkinson's doesn't just steal the ability to move, it takes away small freedoms that many take for granted: the independence to eat without help, the confidence to participate in a toast without fear of spilling your drink, the ability to button your own shirt or tie your own shoes.
Have you ever wondered if, beyond medications, there's something you could do to slow this process, to protect your brain cells that are still healthy, and perhaps even improve your movements in daily life? As a neurologist who has been following Parkinson's patients for more than 18 years, I can say with conviction that yes, there is. And surprisingly, much of this protection can be on your plate, in what you choose to eat every day.
Recent research from Harvard University and the University of California has shown that certain foods contain specific compounds capable of reducing oxidative stress and inflammation in the brain, two processes directly linked to the progression of Parkinson's. Today, I'll share with you the 3 foods with the greatest neuroprotective potential that, when regularly included in your diet, can make a significant difference in the progression of the disease and your daily symptoms.
I want to make it clear that we're not talking about miracle cures or replacing your medications, but about powerful allies that work together with your treatment. Imagine being able to feel more stable when walking, having more mental clarity, and experiencing days with reduced tremors. These small victories added together can represent a revolution in your quality of life and independence.
And the best part? You can start implementing these changes today with simple ingredients that are probably already available at the nearest supermarket. Before we begin, I'd like to know where you're watching from today. Leave a comment below, and feel free to ask any questions you may have. Before we continue with our next method, I want to extend a special invitation to you. If you or someone you love is facing the daily challenges of Parkinson's and is looking for reliable, science-based information explained in a simple way, this channel was created especially for you. Here, we regularly share practical strategies, exercises, and tips that have helped hundreds of people regain small and large independences in their daily lives. Click the subscribe button now. It's completely free, and you won't miss any technique that could make a difference in your quality of life or that of your family member. Now let's continue with the foods that promise to bring significant relief to your symptoms. First, let's talk about red berries. Among the many foods that help control Parkinson's symptoms, red berries stand out as true neuroprotective powerhouses. But how exactly do red berries help people with Parkinson's? Let's explore together. Parkinson's disease is characterized by the progressive loss of dopamine-producing neurons, a neurotransmitter essential for movement control. What few people know is that this neuronal loss is directly linked to oxidative stress and chronic inflammation in the brain. This is where red berries come in, such as strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and cherries. These fruits are extremely rich in compounds called anthocyanins, which give them their characteristic color and, more importantly, offer exceptional neuronal protection. A study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry demonstrated that the anthocyanins present in red berries are capable of crossing the blood-brain barrier, that natural protection that prevents many substances from reaching the brain. And once there, these compounds activate defense mechanisms in neuronal cells, protecting them from oxidative stress. Additionally, red berries, especially blueberries, contain resveratrol, a compound with potent anti-inflammatory action that reduces the activation of microglia, immune cells in the brain that, when overactivated, contribute to neurodegeneration in Parkinson's disease. The specific benefits of red berries for people with Parkinson's are multiple. First, they help preserve still healthy dopaminergic neurons, slowing the progression of the disease. Second, they improve communication between existing neurons, which can result in better motor control. Third, they reduce brain inflammation, alleviating symptoms such as fatigue and muscle rigidity. Fourth, they enhance cognition, improving mental clarity and concentration ability, common non-motor symptoms in Parkinson's. But how do red berries improve motor function in Parkinson's? This is a frequent question, and the answer lies in the protection they offer to mitochondria, the energy factories of cells. Mitochondria in the neurons of people with Parkinson's function less efficiently, leading to cell death. The polyphenols present in red berries, especially in blackberries and blueberries, help restore mitochondrial function, allowing surviving neurons to function better and produce more dopamine, resulting in more fluid and coordinated movements. But are these benefits really significant? Yes, and impressively so. A 20-year study conducted by Harvard University followed more than 130,000 people and found that those who consumed at least 3 servings of red berries per week had a 25% lower risk of developing Parkinson's. Another study published in Neurology showed that people with Parkinson's who regularly consumed red berries exhibited slower progression of motor symptoms compared to those who rarely consumed them. Regarding the ideal frequency and quantity, the current scientific consensus recommends at least 5 portions of 80 grams per week, equivalent to a cup of strawberries or half a cup of blueberries. But know that the benefits are dose-dependent, meaning the more red berries you consume, within reasonable limits, the greater the protection. Some important considerations include always preferring fresh and organic fruits, as pesticides can neutralize part of the benefits. Frozen fruits maintain practically all the benefits, being an excellent option when fresh ones are not available or are very expensive. Avoid industrialized juices that contain added sugar and have lost much of the beneficial compounds in processing. For people with diabetes, I recommend consuming red berries with a protein source, such as natural yogurt or cottage cheese, to minimize the impact on blood glucose. The science behind these benefits is fascinating. A 2023 study published in the journal Science Translational Medicine discovered that a specific compound in red berries called cyanidin-3 glucoside activates the NRF2 signaling pathway, a cellular mechanism that increases the production of endogenous antioxidant enzymes, essentially teaching brain cells to better protect themselves against oxidative stress. Before we continue with the next food, I want to pause to ask you something important. What time of day do Parkinson's symptoms most affect your life or the life of your family member? Is it upon waking, when rigidity seems to take over the body? Or perhaps during meals, when tremors make each forkful a challenge? Or is it at night, when sleep simply doesn't come? This question isn't just out of curiosity. Many people with Parkinson's feel that no one really understands the invisible challenges they face daily, and you are not alone on this journey. Share your experience in the comments. You can simply copy and complete this phrase. My biggest challenge with Parkinson's is when I try to, and then your comment. Your comment might be exactly the information someone else needs to read today to feel understood and less alone. Additionally, your comments help us create more specific content for the real difficulties you face. Now let's continue with our second strategy that can bring significant relief to many of the challenges you share. Our second powerful food against Parkinson's is extra virgin olive oil. Now, you might be thinking, but isn't olive oil just a healthy fat for the heart? The truth is that extra virgin olive oil is much more than that. It contains a compound called oleocanthal that has anti-inflammatory properties comparable to ibuprofen, a common anti-inflammatory medication. But what makes olive oil extraordinary for people with Parkinson's is its ability to specifically protect dopaminergic neurons, those that are progressively lost in Parkinson's disease. A study published in the journal NPJ Parkinson's Disease in 2022 demonstrated that regular consumption of extra virgin olive oil can significantly reduce the aggregation of alpha-synuclein protein. These aggregations, known as Lewy bodies, are the hallmark of Parkinson's disease, and their formation is directly linked to neuronal death. The oleocanthal present in olive oil seems to interfere with this aggregation process. Additionally, olive oil is rich in antioxidants called polyphenols that combat oxidative stress in the brain. Research from the University of California has shown that these polyphenols activate autophagy mechanisms, a cellular cleaning process that removes damaged and aggregated proteins, allowing neuronal cells to function better and survive longer. A particularly interesting aspect of extra virgin olive oil is that it seems to have a synergistic effect with medications commonly used in Parkinson's treatment. A 2021 clinical study published in the Movement Disorders Journal showed that patients who consumed at least 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil daily exhibited better response to levodopa, the standard medication for Parkinson's, with reduced off periods. The specific benefits of olive oil for people with Parkinson's are impressive. First, it helps preserve mitochondrial function in brain cells, combating oxidative stress and maintaining neuronal energy production. Second, it reduces neuroinflammation, a process that accelerates disease progression. Third, it can improve levodopa absorption in some patients, resulting in more stable symptom control. Fourth, observational studies suggest there may be improvement in non-motor symptoms such as constipation and sleep disorders, common in Parkinson's. You might be wondering, how much olive oil should I consume, and how do I incorporate it into my diet? The current recommendation based on studies is 2 to 4 tablespoons daily to obtain significant therapeutic benefits. The important thing is that it should be high-quality extra virgin olive oil, preferably in dark bottles to protect the light-sensitive compounds. Incorporating olive oil into your diet is simple. You can use it raw on salads, soups, or cooked vegetables. Replace other fats like butter and vegetable oils with olive oil in cold preparations. Add a spoonful of olive oil to your morning smoothie. Yes, this might seem strange, but the fruity flavors combine well, and you won't even notice the olive oil. Or prepare homemade pesto sauce rich in olive oil to accompany pastas and proteins. Some important considerations include always storing olive oil in a cool, dark place, as heat and light degrade the beneficial compounds. Avoiding heating olive oil at very high temperatures, as this can destroy some of the polyphenols. Opting for oils with origin certification and recent harvest date to ensure higher antioxidant content. And being aware that not all oil labeled as extra virgin actually meets quality standards. Unfortunately, fraud in this sector is common. Look for reliable and certified brands. A fascinating study from the University of Granada in Spain found that people who follow the traditional Mediterranean diet, rich in extra virgin olive oil, have a significantly lower incidence of Parkinson's, even when other risk factors are present. This protective effect is particularly strong when olive oil consumption begins before the first symptoms but still brings significant benefits even after diagnosis. This leads us to an important conclusion. It's never too late to start incorporating extra virgin olive oil into your diet. Now, let's move on to the third and perhaps most surprising food on our list, ginger. This aromatic and spicy root can be an extremely powerful ally for people with Parkinson's, and its effectiveness goes far beyond what most health professionals know. Ginger contains bioactive compounds called gingerols and shogols that have potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. But what makes ginger particularly valuable for people with Parkinson's is its ability to act on multiple mechanisms of the disease simultaneously. A study published in the Journal of Neuroimmune Pharmacology demonstrated that 6-gingerol, one of the main active compounds in ginger, directly protects dopaminergic neurons from degeneration induced by environmental toxins known to increase the risk of Parkinson's. Another study conducted by researchers at the University of Seoul showed that ginger extracts can inhibit the enzyme monoamine oxidase B, MAOB, which degrades dopamine in the brain. This is the same mechanism of action as medications like selegiline, commonly prescribed for Parkinson's patients. But ginger does this naturally and without the side effects of synthetic medications. Additionally, ginger has unique properties that help improve gastrointestinal function. This is particularly important because more than 80% of people with Parkinson's suffer from digestive problems such as constipation and poor absorption of nutrients and medications. The improvement in intestinal function provided by ginger can lead to more efficient absorption of levodopa, resulting in more stable dopamine levels and better symptom control. The specific benefits of ginger for people with Parkinson's include, first, direct protection of dopaminergic neurons against oxidative damage and cell death. Second, reduction of neuroinflammation and microglial activation, processes that accelerate disease progression. Third, improvement in gastrointestinal motility, facilitating the absorption of nutrients and medications. Fourth, relief of nausea and sickness that can be common side effects of Parkinson's medications. Mild analgesic, properties that can help reduce discomfort associated with muscle rigidity. A particularly interesting aspect of ginger is its thermogenic effect. It slightly raises body temperature, which can help reduce muscle rigidity that many people with Parkinson's experience, especially in the early hours of the morning. Many of my patients report that a cup of hot ginger tea right after waking helps decrease morning stiffness, making the first movements of the day less challenging. As for the quantity and form of consumption, the recommendation is to consume approximately 2 to 4 grams of fresh ginger daily, equivalent to a 2 to 3 centimeter piece, or a teaspoon of powdered ginger. This can be done through fresh ginger teas, grating fresh ginger into juices and smoothies, adding powdered ginger to soups and sautés, or even consuming crystallized ginger as a snack, as long as it's not too high in sugar. Some important considerations include always opting for fresh ginger when possible, as it contains higher concentrations of bioactive compounds. Being aware that ginger can interact with anticoagulants and some antihypertensives. Consult your doctor if you use these medications. Avoiding very high doses, more than 6 grams per day, especially in people with gallstones or taking diabetes medications, as ginger can enhance the hypoglycemic effect, and starting with small quantities and gradually increasing to avoid gastric discomfort, particularly in people with reflux. A study published in the journal Frontiers in Neuroscience in 2022 revealed that regular consumption of ginger can increase levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein that promotes the survival and differentiation of neurons. Reduced BDNF levels have been observed in Parkinson's patients, and an increase in this protein is associated with better cognitive and motor function. This suggests that ginger may not only protect existing neurons but also support neuroplasticity mechanisms, the brain's ability to reorganize and form new connections. Before presenting our next section, I want to pause to celebrate something that rarely receives the attention it deserves: your small victories in the journey with Parkinson's. Do you remember the last time you managed to accomplish something that seemed impossible, even if it's something seemingly simple for others, like buttoning a shirt without help, walking around the entire block, or simply having a day with fewer tremors? These achievements need to be recognized and celebrated, as they represent your strength and persistence in the face of an immense challenge. Share your victory in the comments, no matter how small it may seem. You can copy and complete this phrase. My recent small victory was when By sharing your achievement, you not only document your own progress, but also ignite a flame of hope in someone who might be at the beginning of this journey, needing to believe that small advances are possible. Your stories form a mosaic of hope that sustains our community on difficult days. Now, let's continue with our next section, which can help you achieve even more of these significant victories. Now that we know the 3 most powerful foods to protect the brain against the progression of Parkinson's, I want to share with you the best way to combine them to maximize their benefits. The key is to create what I call the neuroprotective smoothie, a simple drink that includes all these ingredients in their most bioavailable forms. This smoothie was developed based on bioavailability studies showing that certain nutrients are better absorbed when consumed together. Additionally, the liquid form facilitates consumption for people with swallowing difficulties, a common symptom in Parkinson's. I'll share the basic recipe and then some variations for you to adapt to your taste and needs. The basic recipe for the neuroprotective smoothie includes 1 cup of mixed red berries such as strawberries, blueberries, and blackberries, fresh or frozen, 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, a 2 centimeter piece of fresh ginger, half a banana for creaminess, and a cup of plant milk such as almond or oat milk. For people who can consume dairy, natural yogurt is an excellent option to replace plant milk, as it adds probiotics that benefit intestinal health, an aspect frequently compromised in people with Parkinson's. The preparation couldn't be simpler. Just add all ingredients to the blender and blend until you obtain a homogeneous mixture. Ideally, consume immediately to preserve all nutrients. This smoothie can be consumed as breakfast or an afternoon snack, especially during times of day when Parkinson's medications are not at their peak effectiveness. For those who have difficulty accepting the taste of ginger, I suggest starting with a smaller piece and gradually increasing as you become accustomed to the flavor, or substitute with a 1/4 teaspoon of powdered ginger. Some interesting variations include the green version. Add a handful of baby spinach or kale, which are rich in folate, a nutrient that works in synergy with the polyphenols in red berries. The enhanced anti-inflammatory version. Add half a teaspoon of turmeric and a pinch of black pepper to further increase the anti-inflammatory potential. The protein version. Add a scoop of pea protein or whey protein to make the smoothie more nutritious and sustaining, especially important for people with Parkinson's who may have muscle mass loss. And the sleep-improving version. Add a very ripe banana and a teaspoon of almond paste to increase tryptophan, a precursor of serotonin and melatonin. For those with difficulties with the smoothie consistency due to swallowing problems, I recommend straining the drink through a fine cloth or coffee filter to remove any fiber that could cause choking. It's important to emphasize that to obtain maximum neuroprotective benefits, consistency is fundamental. I recommend consuming this smoothie at least 5 times a week, preferably in the morning when the body is more receptive to nutrient absorption. Some of my patients prepare frozen kits with the fruits and ginger already portioned in individual bags, facilitating daily preparation. Another strategy to ensure consistency is to prepare a larger version and divide it into 2 portions, consuming the second portion on the same day to preserve the nutrients as much as possible. Several studies have shown that the combined consumption of these foods has a synergistic effect, that is, the total benefit is greater than the sum of the individual benefits. This occurs because the different bioactive compounds activate complementary mechanisms of neuronal protection. Now you must be wondering, how will I know if it's working? What results can I expect? This is a very pertinent question. The benefits of neuroprotective nutrition are cumulative and progressive. Some of my patients report feeling subtle differences in the first few weeks, such as more energy, better digestion, and more restorative sleep. But the effects on motor function usually begin to be perceived after 2 to 3 months of consistent consumption. A 2023 study with 120 participants with early to moderate Parkinson's showed that after 6 months of dietary intervention rich in the foods we discussed today, 68% of participants showed measurable reduction in the progression of motor symptoms compared to the control group. Additionally, 74% reported significant improvement in non-motor symptoms such as constipation, sleep disorders, and fatigue. It's important to establish realistic expectations. Although these foods have a powerful neuroprotective effect, they do not replace medications prescribed by your neurologist, nor reverse already established damage. The goal is to slow disease progression, enhance the effect of medications, and improve your overall quality of life. A fundamental point I want to emphasize is that consistency overcomes perfection. It is much better to consume small amounts of these foods regularly than large amounts occasionally. This is because bioactive compounds have a limited half-life in the body and need to be constantly replenished to maintain their protective effects. A rarely discussed but extremely important aspect of nutrition and Parkinson's is the interaction between foods and medications, particularly with levodopa, the most commonly prescribed medication. The effectiveness of levodopa can be significantly reduced when consumed with protein-rich meals. This occurs because both levodopa and proteins compete for the same transporters in intestinal absorption and in passing through the blood-brain barrier. Therefore, I recommend avoiding consumption of the neuroprotective smoothie or any protein-rich meal 45 minutes before and after taking levodopa. A study published in the Journal of Neurology showed that simply adjusting meal times in relation to medication can improve the on-time of levodopa by up to 30% for many patients. At the same time, it's important to maintain adequate protein intake throughout the day, as protein malnutrition is a real risk for people with Parkinson's, especially in more advanced stages. A strategy that has worked well for many of my patients is to concentrate most of their protein intake at dinner, when many have already taken their last dose of levodopa for the day. Another important point to consider is iron absorption. Many people with Parkinson's, especially women, develop iron deficiency anemia, which can worsen fatigue and cognitive function. Paradoxically, excess iron in the brain is associated with Parkinson's progression, so it's essential to find a healthy balance. Vegetable sources of iron such as beans, lentils, and dark green leafy vegetables are preferable to animal sources, especially for regular consumption. The neuroprotective smoothie can be enriched with a tablespoon of pumpkin seeds or a teaspoon of sugarcane molasses to increase iron content without adding potentially harmful forms of this mineral. I want to share now a real story of one of my patients, Mr. Carlos, 67 years old, who was diagnosed with Parkinson's 5 years ago. When I met him, he presented significant tremor in his hands, pronounced muscle rigidity especially in the morning, and was beginning to develop freezing of gait, that sensation of feet stuck to the floor. His medication had been adjusted several times, but the off periods were becoming more frequent and longer during the day. After discussing the nutritional possibilities, Carlos decided to incorporate the 3 foods we discussed today into his daily routine. He wasn't a fan of smoothies, so we adapted the strategy. He started the day with ginger tea, consumed red berries as a morning and afternoon snack, and replaced all oils and fats he used with extra virgin olive oil. After 3 months, Carlos noticed that his morning rigidity had decreased significantly. He could get out of bed more easily, and his off periods during the day were shorter and less intense. 6 months later, at his follow-up appointment, we were able to slightly reduce the dose of one of his medications because his motor control had improved. The most impressive thing for Carlos was regaining the ability to write his name legibly, something he hadn't been able to do for almost 2 years. This might seem like a small victory to many, but for him, it represented a rescue of his identity and independence. Stories like Carlos's are not uncommon in my clinical practice, and although each person responds uniquely to nutritional interventions, the vast majority experience some level of improvement when they consistently incorporate these foods. We've reached the end of our journey through the 3 most powerful foods to slow the progression of Parkinson's and protect your movements. As we've seen, red berries, extra virgin olive oil, and ginger offer an impressive arsenal of neuroprotective compounds that work at multiple levels to protect dopaminergic neurons, reduce inflammation, combat oxidative stress, and potentially slow disease progression. The science behind these benefits is solid and growing, with new studies confirming and expanding our understanding of how these foods can be powerful allies in Parkinson's treatment. The most empowering aspect of this approach is that it puts part of the control of the disease in your hands. We are not at the mercy of only medications and medical procedures. Our daily choices in the kitchen can make a significant difference in our quality of life, and perhaps even in the trajectory of the disease. I want to emphasize that this nutritional approach does not replace conventional treatments, but complements them powerfully. Always work in partnership with your neurologist, informing them about the changes you are implementing in your diet. A good professional will be happy to see you taking proactive initiatives to improve your health. For people with Parkinson's seeking greater stability and motor control, more energy, and possibly slower disease progression, red berries, extra virgin olive oil, and ginger offer a powerful triad of protection and support, with benefits that go far beyond symptom control, reaching fundamental aspects of quality of life and independence. If this video brought some hope or useful information to you, I'd like to invite you to become part of our support community here on the channel. Living with Parkinson's presents unique challenges that often only those who go through them truly understand. By subscribing to the Saud 365 channel, you'll have access to new videos every week with specific techniques for each Parkinson's symptom, from exercises to improve balance to strategies for reducing morning rigidity. Our commitment is to bring content that really makes a difference in your daily life, filtered and tested by specialists, but explained in simple and direct language. Many of our subscribers report that small changes learned here have transformed their independence and confidence. To subscribe is very simple. Just click the subscribe button below this video and then the bell to be notified when we publish new content. Remember, you are not alone on this journey, and every step counts. We want to follow and support your advances and celebrations. Every small victory matters, and we are here to help you achieve many of them. Thank you for being with us today, and we hope to see you in our next video, where we'll explore specific exercises that perfectly complement this nutritional approach. Take good care of yourself, and until next time.